Hey everybody, my name is Ben Petty. Thank you so much for joining today. Today we're going to talk about something that you've probably been hearing quite a bit about. A lot of people are calling it generative AI. It's kind of a category, so to speak, of this. But there's several different variations of. There's lots of variations of it actually, but several really popular ones. Probably the most popular one right now is called ChatGPT. Another one by Google is Google Bard, and then Microsoft has their own version, which is Microsoft Bing Chat. So, what is generative AI really? Generative AI is where you can type in a question, something like you would put into Google, how to brush your teeth, for instance. That's a dumb version of it, but you can see it's just asking a question like you would a friend or whatever. But the better your question, the better the response is, or the more specific your response is going to be. So it goes out to its huge database or whatever of vast amounts of information, and then responds back with a very well written essay or whatever it is that you've asked for response. So an example of how to brush your teeth, it might break it down into 12 steps, the best ways to brush your teeth that dentists recommend, but it's all going to do it in a matter of seconds, which is really quite crazy. So this will be a fun one. I wanted to give you an example. So let's put some questions in here. So this is ChatGPT, which is part of the OpenAI project. To do this, you have to sign up for an account. This is a free version of that. And you see it looks just like a regular chat session. It has some of your former queries over here to the left. So let's go ahead and type one question in. I have some that are pre-made just to save some time. So the first one is provide an analysis of potential vendors to provide affordable credit card processing services compliant with P2PE. So if you don't know what P2PE is, you can put that in here and ask. So what it's going to do, it's typing in all kinds of things for you to consider. So my question again was provide an analysis of potential vendors to provide affordable credit card processing services compliant with P2PE. So I might have meant something else. I might have meant, I'm actually looking for potential vendor names, but it provided me with an analysis of really terminology for me to consider. So having done something like this before, I was kind of expecting this. Now, if I were to type the same question in again, it might provide a completely different response. So I'm going to be a little bit more specific. Provide a list of potential vendors to provide affordable credit card processing services compliant with P2PE. Almost the same question, but I'm asking specifically for a potential list of vendors. And there you go. It's starting to give me, these are all vendors that provide credit card processing services, I'm assuming compatible or compliant with P2PE. So that's pretty cool. My point here is that you have to be really careful about what you put in, and you have to also be really careful about what you get out of generative AI. I'm going to guess this is in no way a exhaustive list. If you look at here, it's actually providing square twice. I just happen to notice that. I'm sure some of these other ones, I don't see the other ones that are done twice. But you got to be careful of just taking what it provides to you and trusting it necessarily, because it could be insensitive or biased. It could be completely inaccurate. It may contain copyrighted material, so you just got to be a little bit careful about what it is. What I usually say is it gets you your 80 or 90%. Now, having said that, I did ask for a list of the executives at the company that I currently work for, and almost every single one of them was wrong. There was only one of them that was correct, the CEO, but every single other person of that list was completely wrong. In fact, I had never heard of most of those people. Some of those people were executives there at one time. All right, so I'm going to ask for List of potential company names for business that sells plaster moon and sheep figurines. Trying to get as random as possible. Lunar lamb creations, moon meadows sculptures, use celestial crafts. Now it's not going to, these are actually pretty good. It's not actually going to see if these are available names. I'm not asking for it to see if there's are non-trademarked names. It's possible that it could do that. I just have not tried that. All right, so you can see how you could use this for marketing purposes or setting up a new company or whatever. All right, so let's do another one. Provide a list of potential brand names for an ice cream mixed treat containing toffee, Snickers bar, cold fudge, and malt powder. This probably sounds very random as well, but I happen to, my first job was Dairy Queen, and I tried all kinds of Blizzard ideas, and this was my favorite Blizzard concoction. Heath bar Blizzard with Snickers, cold fudge, and malt powder. Toffee, truffle tango, fudge fantasy fiction or fusion, malt magic mix, Snickers sensation swirl. All of these are pretty good, actually. Okay, let's try another one. What are the risks involved in me starting an electric vehicle manufacturing business? This ought to be good. See how fast it's already starting this thing. So high capital requirements. I can see that's very true. Intense competition. Technological challenges, supply chain disruptions. These are all great. Lack of experience. Yes, that would be me since I have never worked in the automotive industry. All right, so let's try a couple more. Where is the best beach vacation spot in the United States? I've never tried a best question. Okay, so it's not going to give me a very best. It's going to give me a number of bests. But hey, you know what? This is still going to save me some time. And these are actually pretty good. Okay, so now I wanted to show you by typing just a few more key things in there. So I'm going to ask the exact same question, but at the spot for kids. So now it's going to go through and talk about places where it has activities for kids. Just looks like it's mostly the same. Anyway, so hopefully you can see that using a tool like this can get you a really good head start. Like I said, I've seen people do this. I've actually done this myself to write documentation, and then you basically take it and you use 80% of what it uses, 90% whatever it is, but you kind of change it to meet the actual specific situation for you or your organization. You can actually have it write scripts. So let me type one in. I didn't plan this one out. So write a Python script to shut down a Linux computer at 4:15 p.m. So when you do it to write scripts, number one, you got to be really careful, again, what you contribute to it. So some people I've heard of, they write, they put in a piece of script and they said, why won't this compile or why doesn't this work? Well, what you just did is you contributed that script to the online community, and so other people can do it. I think, I want to say Samsung had something like this where they started seeing some of their intellectual capital, their scripting, come back to them. And so it was obvious that people were putting scripts, proprietary scripts into the thing to have them do something. But that now is part of what goes in there. So you got to be careful about not putting sensitive information about your company or your organization. You don't want to put sensitive information about consumers, personally identified information or anything like that in there, because it becomes part of the collective, if you will. So you can see how fast it wrote this script. Now, I am not a Python developer, so I can't see that this is accurate, but it looks decent. Anyway, so those are just some examples I wanted to show you. Hopefully that you find this useful and you're able to use ChatGPT and some of the others. Microsoft Bing Chat again, or Google Bard. There's all kinds of them. Some of them will do images. You can create an image or send a picture of yourself, and then draw a picture of me riding a unicorn or something like that. Who knows? Some of these can also be really dangerous because bad guys that where English might not be their language can use this to write phishing emails or something like that. People can use it to serve out disinformation if they're taking real pictures and having them, out of context or something like that. So it does open up a whole can of worms, huge can of worms. But it can also be used for really good things and to save a lot of time. So hope this is helpful to you, and hope you have a great day.